My daughter sent the message on December 22nd, 2025. Mom, don't bother cooking for Christmas. We're spending it with Alex's family this year. Their traditions feel more like home to us now. I was on a ladder in the living room, hanging the last string of vintage bubble lights, the ones Tom had hunted down at an estate sale 20 years ago because they reminded him of his childhood. The tree, a 12-foot Fraser fir I'd picked myself from the same family farm we'd visited every year since Lauren was 2, filled the house with that sharp, sweet pine smell. Bing Crosby's White Christmas spun softly on the 1950s record player in the corner. The mantel was already draped with fresh cedar garland, tiny white lights woven through it, and the stockings, 3 hand-knitted ones with our names in red yarn, hung expectantly above the fireplace. I read the text 3 times. My hands didn't shake. I simply climbed down the ladder, set the phone on the coffee table next to the half-finished mug of spiked eggnog, and walked to the kitchen. That night, while the snow started to fall outside the bay window, I opened every single account Tom and I had ever created for Lauren and quietly, methodically, removed her name from all of them. Christmas Eve morning, she was pounding on my door at 8:30 a.m., cheeks flushed from the cold, eyes wild with panic and fury. Alex stood behind her holding 2 hastily wrapped gifts that I suspected had been purchased with the credit card I'd paid off last January. "Come in, sweetheart. The fire's lit, the cinnamon rolls are just coming out of the oven, and the coffee's fresh. Sit down. Let me tell you the long story of how we ended up here, of every Christmas we built together, and how slowly, painfully, you walked away from them. My name is Evelyn Harper. I'm 65 years old. My husband Tom died 5 years ago, sudden heart attack while shoveling the driveway after the first big snow. Lauren was our only child, born on a freezing January night in 1993. From the moment we brought her home, Christmas became the heartbeat of our family. It started small. When Lauren was 2, we drove 45 minutes to Miller's Tree Farm, the one with the rusty sleigh out front and free hot cider in tin mugs. Tom cut down a 6-foot blue spruce while Lauren toddled behind him in her red snowsuit, clutching a plastic candy cane. We tied it to the roof of our old station wagon and sang jingle bells at the top of our lungs all the way home. Pine needles raining down on Lauren's car seat. That night we decorated while eating sugar cookies I'd baked into stars and bells. Lauren's job was to hang the unbreakable ornaments on the bottom branches. She took it very seriously. Tom lifted her up to place the glittering glass star on top, an ornament we'd bought in Rockefeller Center the year before. We took a photo, Tom in his ugly reindeer sweater, me with flour in my hair, Lauren beaming between us. That picture has sat on the mantel every December since. Every year the traditions grew. By the time she was 5, we added the gingerbread house ritual. Not a Kitriel graham crackers, homemade royal icing, and an absurd amount of candy. Lauren designed the layout. Tom engineered the structural integrity. He was an architect. I piped the icing and refereed candy theft. We played Nat King Cole's Christmas album on repeat. The house always collapsed at least once, and we always laughed until we cried. When she was 7, we started the Christmas Eve light tour. We'd pile into the car in our pajamas, undercoats, armed with thermoses of homemade hot chocolate laced with peppermint schnapps for the adults. We had a route, the neighborhood with the synchronized light show set to Trans-Siberian Orchestra, the house with the life-size nativity, the downtown square where the city strung lights across the entire courthouse lawn, and a choir sang carols on the steps. We always ended at the overlook above town, where you could see every neighborhood twinkling below us like fallen stars. Midnight Mass became non-negotiable when Lauren was 10. She loved the candlelight, the incense, the way the church smelled like pine and wax. She wore the same red velvet dress every year until she outgrew it. Afterward, we'd drive home slowly, windows down, even in the cold, letting the snowflakes melt on our faces. Back home, we opened exactly one present each, the new pajamas I'd made or bought. Then we left cookies for Santa, chocolate chip with extra chips, because Santa likes chocolate, Mom, and a carrot for Rudolph. Lauren and I would sprinkle reindeer food dots, mixed with red and green glitter across the front lawn so the reindeer could find us. Christmas morning began with Tom's cinnamon rolls, gooey, oversized, dripping with cream cheese icing. Lauren would thunder down the stairs in her new pajamas, eyes huge at the presents under the tree. We opened them slowly, savoring each one. Then we spent the day in our pajamas, board games by the fire, nibbling on leftovers from the feast I'd cooked the day before, prime rib with horseradish cream, Yorkshire pudding, roasted Brussels sprouts with bacon, mashed potatoes with gravy, and my mother's cranberry orange relish. We watched It's a Wonderful Life and White Christmas, quoting every line. Those traditions were sacred. They were us. Even after Lauren left for college, she came home for every single one. She'd help cut the tree, complain about the gingerbread roof collapsing, sing off-key in the car during the light tour. She'd fall asleep on the couch during the movie, head on my shoulder, like when she was small. It's not Christmas anywhere else, Mom, she'd say every year. Then, she met Alex. The first Christmas after they got engaged, things shifted. They arrived late on Christmas Eve. Traffic was awful. They spent most of the light tours on their phones. Lauren helped with the gingerbread house, but Alex sat in the corner scrolling Instagram. They left at noon on Christmas Day for dinner with his family. I told myself it was normal. Newlyweds split time. The next year, they came only for Christmas Day. No tree cutting, no light tours, no midnight mass. We're so tired from work, Lauren said. They opened presents quickly, ate a plate of food, and left by 4. Alex complained the prime rib was too rare. The year after that, they didn't come at all. Alex has the flu, Lauren texted on December 23rd. I spent Christmas alone for the first time in 30 years, eating reheated leftovers in front of a tree that felt too big for one person. That's when the money requests began. It started innocently enough. Mom, the condo needs a new furnace, $12,000. We'll pay you back. I sent it. Then $18,000 for renovations I was never invited to see. Then $25,000 because Alex's car died and he needs something reliable for work. Then $30,000 for investments that somehow never materialized. Then smaller ones, $5,000 here, $8,000 there for emergencies that were never explained. Over 4 years, it totaled $218,000. Not one repayment. Not one weekend spent helping me put up lights or bake gingerbread. Not one phone call that didn't end with a request. I kept giving because I was clinging to the memory of the little girl in the red snowsuit. The teenager who cried when the gingerbread roof caved in. The young woman who said Christmas wasn't Christmas anywhere else. This year, I decided to do every tradition anyway, alone, if necessary. I drove to Miller's farm the first weekend in December. The owner's grandson helped me tie the massive tree to my SUV. I decorated over 3 days, bubble lights, tinsel, every ornament with its own story. I baked gingerbread and built the house by myself, piping home Sweet Home on the roof because I refused to let it say nothing. I drove the light tour alone with a thermos of hot chocolate, singing harmony with the radio. I went to midnight mass with my neighbor Ruth and her husband George. I hung 3 stockings anyway, mine, Ruth's, and Lauren's, because hope is stubborn. I invited Ruth and George for Christmas dinner. I bought prime rib, made the cranberry relish, set the table with the good china and the red candles we'd always used. Then, on December 22nd, the text arrived. Don't bother cooking for Christmas. We're spending it with Alex's family this year. Their traditions feel more like home to us now. I stood in the glow of the tree for a long time. The bubble lights gurgled softly. The star on top caught the light and threw tiny rainbows across the ceiling. I didn't cry. I didn't call. I didn't beg. Instead, I sat down with a fresh mug of eggnog extra spikened, opened my laptop. There was the trust fund we'd started the day she was born. $100 deposited every single month for 32 years, now worth $248,000. The joint savings account I'd opened when she got married for emergencies, $118,000. The investment portfolio I'd continued adding to after Tom died, $192,000. The smaller college fund I'd never closed, $48,000. Total, $606,000 that she had always assumed would be hers someday. I spent 5 hours transferring every penny into new accounts bearing only my name. I removed her as beneficiary on my life insurance, my annuity, my retirement accounts. I changed every password, enabled two-factor authentication, and printed every statement from my records. When I finished, the snow was deep outside. The tree lights reflected in the window like a private constellation. I felt something I hadn't felt in years, calm. Christmas Eve morning, the pounding on the door started at 8:30. Lauren burst in the moment I opened it, snowflakes melting in her hair, face blotchy with rage and cold. Mom, what did you do to my accounts? It's Christmas Eve. Alex followed, carrying 2 large, obviously expensive gifts wrapped in metallic paper. I closed the door against the wind. Coffee's on. Cinnamon rolls are warm. Sit. They didn't sit. That's my money, Lauren shouted. My inheritance. You can't just take it. Alex added, "This is insane. Evelyn, it's Christmas." I looked around the room, the tree glowing, the gingerbread house on the dining table, the stockings on the mantel, the fire crackling. Everything exactly as it had been for decades, except the people who used to cherish it, were standing in my living room treating me like a malfunctioning ATM. "Tell me," I said quietly, "when was the last time you helped cut down the tree? When did you last stay for midnight mass? When did you eat more than one plate on Christmas Day before rushing off? When did you ever repay a single dollar of the $218,000 I gave you?" Lauren's mouth opened, closed. Alex tried reason. "We're in trouble. Okay, the condo board hit us with an $80,000 special assessment. We were counting on the trust to cover it. If you could just transfer it back." "No," I said. One word. "Steady." Lauren's voice cracked. "You're seriously choosing money over your only child on Christmas?" "I'm choosing the woman who did every tradition alone this year," I replied. "The woman who built a gingerbread house by herself and wrote Home Sweet Home on it because no one else would. The woman who drove the light tour singing harmony with the radio because her daughter was too busy. The woman who went to midnight mass with neighbors because her family couldn't be bothered. I'm choosing me, Lauren." Finally, Lauren sobbed. "Alex called me selfish, cruel, vindictive. They promised everything. They'd stay the whole week, do every tradition, never ask for money again." I walked to the door and held it open. Snow swirled in. "Merry Christmas," I said. "I hope their traditions make you happy." Lauren paused on the porch. "You'll spend Christmas alone and regret this." "I won't be alone," I said. "Ruth and George are coming. We're doing prime rib, cinnamon rolls, the light tour tonight, midnight mass, presents, the whole thing. And every person at my table will be there because they want to be, not because they need something from me." They left the gifts on the porch. I donated them unopened to the Children's Hospital. Ruth and George arrived at 4 that afternoon. We drank mimosas while finishing the gingerbread decorations. We drove the light tour in convoy with 2 other widow friends I'd invited. We sang until our voices were hoarse. We came home, opened pajamas at midnight, scattered reindeer food on the lawn for old time's sake, and watched the snow fall. Christmas morning we made Tom's cinnamon rolls. We opened small, thoughtful gifts. We ate until we couldn't move, played Scrabble by the fire, watched both movies, and fell asleep on the couch together like a pile of puppies. It was the warmest, most peaceful Christmas I'd had since Tom was alive. The aftermath unfolded slowly. In January, I met with my estate attorney. New will, everything to a scholarship fund in Tom's name for children of single parents. To the church that hosted midnight mass, to the women's shelter downtown. Lauren explicitly In February, their condo went into foreclosure. Through the small-town grapevine, Ruth's niece works at the bank. I learned the truth. $350,000 in credit card debt, luxury vacations, designer clothes, private club memberships. Many of the emergencies had funded trips I was never told about. Lauren tried every tactic. Long, tearful emails about how I'd abandoned her future, angry voicemails, flowers delivered on Valentine's Day with a card begging forgiveness. I changed my phone number. In March, she showed up alone on Easter Sunday holding a store-bought ham and a desperate expression. I met her on the porch. "I miss you, Mom," she whispered. I was wrong. "I'll do anything." I looked at her, the exhaustion in her eyes, the cheaper coat, the absence of the diamond earrings I'd helped pay for. "I missed the daughter who sprinkled reindeer food with me," I said. "I missed the girl who cried when the gingerbread roof fell." "I don't know who you are now, Lauren. And until you figure that out, really figure it out, Ty can't let you back in." She left crying. Summer brought change for me. I joined a widow's travel group and took a cruise to Alaska. I started painting classes watercolors of Christmas lights and snow-covered trees. I hosted a gingerbread decorating party in July just because I could. My house filled with laughter again, the kind that doesn't come with strings. In September, I heard Lauren and Alex separated. He moved back with his parents. She took a studio apartment and 2 jobs. She never asked to come home. This Christmas 2026 is approaching now. The tree is up, cut from Miller's farm. The bubble lights gurgle. The gingerbread house proudly displays Chosen Family 2026 in careful icing. Ruth, George, 3 book club friends, and 2 widows from my painting class are all coming. We're doing the full route: tree lighting downtown, light tour, midnight mass, cinnamon rolls, prime rib, movies, the works. The stockings on the mantel have new names stitched on them, people who show up because they love me, not because they need me. Sometimes, very late at night, I take out the old photo from that first big tree year, Tom, me, tiny Lauren between us, all covered in pine needles and joy. I touch her little face and let myself grieve the daughter I lost. But I don't grieve the life I've gained. I learned that traditions are living proof of love in action. They're not obligations, they're choices, renewed every year. And no one, not even your child, gets to keep the magic while giving nothing back. Real love cuts the tree with you in the cold. It stays for midnight mass, even when it's late. It eats second helpings and sings off-key in the car. It doesn't vanish the moment the gifts are opened or the bank account is empty. If someone in your life has stopped choosing your traditions, your love, your heart, it's okay to stop giving them access to your light. You are allowed to keep your Christmas for people who treat it and Yule like the treasure it is. To everyone spending this Christmas without the people they thought would always be there, may your trees shine brighter than ever. May your tables be full of chosen family. May your hearts finally know the peace of being truly, freely loved. Merry Christmas. Guard your magic. You've earned every sparkle. Thank you for listening to my long story. I hope it helps someone out there find the courage to protect their own light.